Hi. Sorry, at this moment I decided to move some stuff around. Hey gang, this is Andy over at Falco Canine Academy coming to you live on Thursday. It's 2:28, a very odd time to go live, but it's what I could fit in for today. And I've been wanting to talk about this for some time. I may have to have more than one session on this because the concept may be a little bit, it's not complex, but there's a lot of variables and things that I definitely think that I should visit it, some other stuff besides what I'm going to do today, which is just these two right here, which I'll explain in just 1 minute. I came up with what I called at the time the Falco formula back when I wrote this book. I think it was probably 4 or 5 years before I wrote this book. This book's called, it's a horrible cover, by the way. It's before what I knew. It's before I know more about writing books now than I did back then. This was written in, I think, about 2004, 2005. I finally published it in 2007, but it's called Modern Decoying for the Patrol Dog. And so if I bring it closer, you can see that's pictures of me decoying a dog, and it has more to do about police work and police dogs than anything else. And it's the first time I used my pen name, Andy Falco, there. And there's a long story about that, but I'll say that for another time. In this book, somewhere in the middle, I start talking about the Falco formula. And the reason I came up, well, you can't see now because the pages are so white, but the reason I came up with it because of the different variables between a human, the dog, the decoy, the guy that you see on the picture is the guy that wears the suit and gets bitten, and what he has to do based on what dog he has in front of him, what human is handling the dog, and then also has to do with the different scenarios you put the team through, whether it's a building search or an active fighting suspect or a fleeing suspect, or the dog's in a muzzle, the dog's biting a guy in a suit or biting a sleeve or biting an undercover sleeve, and a whole bunch of other stuff, right? And so you have the formula is what you do in regard to a dog, and I'm gonna give you the colors right now. So you have a red dog, a blue dog, and a green dog. You have a red human, a blue human, and a green human. I'll explain a little bit further. Each one of these are different. And you'll understand this when I go into the details a little bit more. But again, the concept was more not to come up with a whole new formula that would take over the world. It was just so that I could easier explain. And when I was talking and teaching to the handlers, with cops, you have to keep things simple sometimes. I love how some of these lives I'm talking so fantastically about cops, and other times I'm thinking, I'm saying not such nice stuff. That's because I am one, right? And so it's okay. It's like talking about men and saying, men, we're funny dudes. But I also have written articles for Police Canine Magazine and Dog Sports Magazine and some other stuff. As a matter of fact, I was Writer of the Year for Dog Sports Magazine back, I don't even know when. I think it was the 1900s. Anytime, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because anytime I tried to explain something, it was always so hard. The one thing about, in this video, I should have started with this video is both for trainers. It's going to sound like it's mostly for trainers, but it's also for you, especially if you have more than one dog. But it's for you who you have a dog, and why, and help you understand why your dog responds to one person in the family as opposed to another person in the family. Why the dog fears one person in the family, why the dog is attracted to another person in the family. This formula will somewhat, I'm hoping by the time we're done, and I'm going to try to do it in a reasonable amount of time because I got other stuff to do. But when I was writing these articles for these magazines, there's another cop magazine. So yeah, Police Canine Magazine, American Working Dog Magazine, Canine Cop Magazine, Sport Dog Magazine. Some of these magazines aren't around anymore. Sometimes some of them have changed. And the reason I'm bringing this up again is that because when you're writing an article, you're talking about dog training, or you're watching Cesar Millan, for instance, or some of the other dog trainers that you see on TV, is that they're giving you one. It's almost, and I think I can use this. They're giving you one dimension, right? They're giving you a human and a dog with a problem, and this is how you solve that problem. Well, that's not linear. It's not always gonna help you with what it is that you're having, the problem you're having with your dog. Say they're working with an aggressive dog and you have an aggressive dog. The training regiment, the tools they're going to use, the timing, the everything for this dog and this problem works for them, but it doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Why? It's because of this. And so when I was writing articles, I found myself quite often having to figure out, how do I explain this so that somebody that reading this doesn't have a bigger problem by the time they're done. Because I can write an article about, hey, when you have a dog that does this, then you do this, and the dog, bam, the dog will be so great after that. And then somebody would go, well, no, my dog actually is worse. It's actually now that I don't know if that ever happened, but I'm just saying that's quite possible, because I've seen it quite often. And I want you to comment too. If you're watching, comment, tell me where you're watching from. Tell me if you are agreeing or you disagree, or you think, hey, you're full of crap. It's very linear. You can use one caller for every situation and it works. If you believe that, then I want to know, because I want to have a conversation. But what's important to know is that when you're doing this, when you become to where you're writing articles or doing television shows and that kind of stuff, understand that when you are explaining something, that you also have to put in sometimes a caveat that says, unless this, unless that, or because of this, you may not have the same results and that kind of stuff. And so I want you to keep in mind that when you're, and also now you as a pen owner, when you're watching something on television, you're going, oh, that's really interesting, I'm going to try that. Be careful, because I want you to take some of these things into consideration. I'm just going to explain this. I'm not going to explain the scenarios or anything else like that, but I'm going to. And so let me put that down. So the reason I have all these other books on here is because when I was studying, these are all older books. These are some of the books that I read, and these are just some of them. I had a lot of them stolen. I know you'll find this shocking, but when you hire people as employees, they steal from you. And so this is probably a third of the books that I had in there. And I told them all the time, hey, feel free to take a book home. Just bring it back. You know, maybe they just forgot. Maybe they left it on the roof of their car and it went away. But anyway, not all the books are still present. But like Konrad Lorenz is a really great researcher. His books are sometimes hard to read, but Konrad Lorenz wrote a few books. So this one happens to be called Man Meets Dog. It's a really good book. I liked it. Again, you have to be into dogs and into training in order to get through the book, because it can be difficult. But this is an example of the Kohler method. Did I use the Kohler method? I don't know. I think there's some things that I like, some things that I didn't, but it also helps me understand the things that I was taught by trainers who sometimes took some of their methods from Kohler method, and we're applying them. Now I go, oh, that's where Farfignugan got that. He's using the Kohler method, or a portion of the Kohler method, or a version of the Kohler method. And so sometimes reading a book just gave me answers as to, oh, that's why they're doing that. That explains that. That's what they got that. Another good one was A Good Dog, Bad Dog. That was another book back in the day. Here's a great one. This guy was super nice. I met him at a lot of seminars. This is a police. Look at all my little tabs and things like that. Police Canine Tracking by Tracy Bowling. He died several years ago now, probably about 10 years ago. I'm not sure how long ago he died, but a great man. We had a lot of conversations at the conferences that we would be at together. We'd have booths sometimes next to each other, that kind of stuff. But Tracy Bowling, great guy, really cool guy. This is a really good book if you like tracking, urban tracking. This is like real tracking. This isn't tracking for, Schutzen. This is tracking, police canine tracking across cement and asphalt, dirt, and over walls and that kind of stuff. Really good book. The Intelligence of Dogs, Pack of Two. Dogs are from Neptune. Dogs are from Neptune. Yeah. Remember Jean Donaldson? I brought her over to Falco Canine Academy. She taught a seminar at our academy. Really nice lady. Again, some things I agree with, that kind of stuff. Not everybody are you going to agree with. Don't think that every time you read a book that you're going to believe in everything that they write, or when you have them and you're going to listen to them and go, ooh, I'm not sure that I think that that's true. I'm not saying about that Gene. Gene had a lot of really good information, and talking to people sometimes behind the scenes when they're not teaching, they'll even tell you different stuff than what they teach. Again, not saying that's what Gene did. I just have some memories of us having a few conversations about people. It's usually about people, but Gene is a great one. And then I get into some of these human ones, and this is really important when you're looking at this stuff here. There's one thing to look at the dog, and then there's the other thing to look at the humans. Power of Focus was a really good book. You can see I had tabs on this one too. Jack Canfield, Mark Victor Hansen, Les Hewitt. A really good book to read. Whale Done, another one of my favorites. This is a really good book. This is about human training, even though it talks about whale training and that kind of stuff. It's about understanding how you treat people and what you focus on. We often focus on the mistakes people make as opposed to focusing on the things they do well. And so Whale Done teaches you when you're working with people, notice when they're doing something well and try to ignore sometimes bad behavior and reward good behavior. But a really good book for teaching humans and working with humans. Really good book. Another one I really liked was Coach Wooden, One-on-One. Another one, here's another one of my favorites. People are idiots, and I can prove it. That was a really good book. Some other books that I like are, oh my gosh, I can't think of any of the names now. But let me see if I can find them as I'm doing this. But the reason I bring up both the human and the dog books is because that's how you become a really good dog trainer. The understanding that there's so many different types of people out there and how they learn and how they communicate. Their body language when you're teaching them, watching them and their body language as they're teaching them and seeing what's happening, understanding why it is that their dog is doing what it is because of not the dog but because of the human is, because you'll begin to understand who people are and their psychology and that kind of stuff. I'm looking at my library here really quick. There's a couple of good ones. I don't know why I can never remember the names of some of them, but where's my library? Hold on, we're coming up right now. Hold on. I'm getting all kinds of messages from my last Facebook Live I just did. Daily Self-Discipline is another good one that I like. Smarter, Faster, Better by Charles Duhigg, D-U-H-I-G-G, almost like Duhigg. Dang it. Emotional Intelligence is another good one. Oh my gosh, where's my other books? Is there going to another page? Oh, I'm looking at Audible. Ah, man. Kindle is what I wanted. Sometimes, you just got to laugh at yourself and say, dude, sometimes it seems like you got your act together, and other days, not so much. Here we go. Here's a couple of good ones. These are two of my favorites, and I don't know why, I can never remember the names. It's strange, though, right? It's strange that it's your favorite, if you have something that's a favorite, and you can't remember the name of it. Hold on, it's coming up. Stand by. I know I'm trying your patience. I know. I cannot watch videos where people aren't talking or they're trying to do something else, and it bores me to tears, and I end up leaving. So try to stick around. Hold on, this is going to be really important. I've talked about them before, but I want to make sure and bring them up. I get nothing for referring these books. Man, I have a lot of Kindle books. Man, I have hundreds. Hold on. I'm getting there. I know you're losing patience. Gosh darn it. Dang it. Where is it? As soon as I see one, I'll know what the two, because they go together. They're two books that go together. Son of a gun. They're super important. Dang it. I can't think of the names. They'll come to me as I'm teaching. 1 second. All right, I give. I can't find them. I'm finding my books. Vegan Sex. I found a book called Vegan Sex. You might want to get that one. It's so good. I have so many dang books. Mostly because I buy other people's books, because that's what I do to help them become best-selling authors. All right, I can't find it. Son of a gun. I know people have pen and pencil, pen and paper ready, and they're ready to write down. All right, that's it. I give. I'll think of it while I'm teaching, I think. All right, so let's get to the meat of the operation. I'm sorry, I tried so hard to do that. Again, nobody's commenting. Come on, people. Comment. Tell me what you think. Hey, dude, don't ever tell us you're going to do something and then not do it. Tell me something like that, or hi, or whatever. All right. So let's talk about this part of the formula. This part of the formula is really important. And this is why when you watch something on TV that says this is how you train your dog to do blah, 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 or this is, you know, when you're at class and they're teaching you, and you have a trainer that only knows one way of training. There's a lot of trainers that are out there that are like that. There are a lot of trainers that know how to train a specific kind of dog and have success with a certain amount, a certain type of dog and a certain type of human being. And you'll know this because they will give you an evaluation and say, well, your dog really doesn't fit into our class, and they kick you out, right? I get all the dogs. Falco Canine Academy has gotten all the dogs that have been kicked out of every other training program because the dog and or the human don't fit into what it is that human, that trainer can handle. They don't have the knowledge. They don't have the experience. They don't know how to manage when you have these two things going on in between the human and the dog, and they don't know how to deal with it. And so they very narrowly only handle a specific type, sometimes a specific breed, sometimes a certain type of dog, a dog that's basically good, and now they only have to be kind of good in their training to have any kind of success. And this is why. All right, I'm going to take a there it is, a black marker, and I'm gonna set this up here. So hold on, let me move this over a little bit that way. There we go. So we have these different colors. I've given them different colors. So red, blue, and green on both. In everything to the scenarios, to the maybe even the equipment, everything has a level of energy. All right, a level of energy. And in the red dog, this is a high energy, sometimes aggressive, sometimes pushy, sometimes strong dog, a dog that can take a strong correction and will look at you like, is that all you got? And a dog that is a dog that's kind of a dog that kind of scares people in many cases, not always, but we're talking about a strong dog. And so all I'm going to do is just put strong here. Oops, wow. Of course, the only black marker that I have here. All right, I'm gonna have to use a color. I just didn't want to confuse anybody by putting a color that I'm using. Dang it, darn kids. Has to be one of the kids' fault, right? It's never my fault. All right, so I'm gonna put strong. All right, so strong dog. So let's just say that I'm gonna use one single word, but understand that it's a dog that's kind of like, wow, this is a lot of dog, and he's knocking people over, and he's hard to handle, and he's challenged. It doesn't mean he's big. Right, you can have a small dog that is actually strong-willed and strong and has a very high pain tolerance and can take a correction and all that kind of stuff. So that's that kind of dog. Then you have a blue dog. A blue dog is mild, right? Not soft. This is soft, but a mild dog. A dog that kind of walks around and goes, hey, what's up, bro? Walks over slick floors mostly, kind of goes out, wags his tail at people, hey, what's going on? But you say here, and the dog goes, well, what? And kind of comes back. He doesn't like say flip you off. This dog flips you off, right? The strong dog flips you off. Says, screw you, I'm out of here, right? And you go, no, come here, and the dog, boom, and it keeps on going. Not keeps going out of fear, but just keeps going, like says, you know, the heck with you. A mild dog is a dog that is like many labs. Many labs are a pretty mild dog for the most part. But you can have a lab that's strong. But for the most part, a Labrador is a mild dog, just your average daily dog that does most stuff. And then you have a green dog, which is a soft dog. All right, soft. That's kind of like Brandy. I wish Brandy's outside. Brandy is the lab that I have here, and if there's too much noise, too much activity, the dog goes, I don't feel comfortable, and kind of goes, I'm going to pretend that I'm not here, and kind of goes and hides behind the couch, right? Or you say, hey, come here, and the dog goes, or rolls over and pees on himself. So that's a soft dog. So you got a strong dog, mild dog, and a soft dog. So red dog typically is a dog that has a high pain tolerance, is kind of a sometimes a mess, sometimes aggressive, sometimes biting. But you can have a soft dog that bites, right, out of fear. Right, the dog gets pushed, like, oh no, and then bites you out of fear. That can be a soft dog. A mild dog usually is just kind of like, whatever. Like you can push the dog and the dog will go, all right, whatever, not a big deal. It doesn't pee on itself or anything like that, and it doesn't bite you, right? And so this is kind of the tip of this. My police dog, Falco, my police dog, he was generally a mild dog for the most part. But there's other stories I can tell you later on. All right, and so it goes to reason when we're going to the human that it pretty much correlates, like a strong personality, right? A strong personality, kind of like a jerk. Sometimes a jerk, and hard-headed, you know. Yeah, hey, come over here and do this. All right, right? And they kind of like get on their phone, whatever. Like they're just a strong personality. Mostly men, but you also find it in women. Strong personality, right? Of course, in the human, you got a mild, like, hey, what's up? What's up, bro? Yeah, I'm here to go do some training. What do you want me to do? All right, cool. I'll go do it. Not a big deal. Bring your dog over here. All right, no problem. Tell your dog to sit. All right, my dog's sitting. Right, pretty mild. That's a blue. That's a guy. Just like, hey, everything's good. Not a big deal. And then green in a human is a human who's kind of timid, like, I don't know. My dog is. I don't know if I can do that. My dog. I don't like that collar. That collar looks very dangerous. It looks like it might hurt him or her. And the dog is like, oh my God, that dog. Right? That's that. I can't do anymore. So that's that human, right? So strong. Oh, I'm a jerk. I'm strong. I'm blah blah. And then hey, what's going on? And then, all right, that kind of person. So you have these three, and you have a lot of variations, right? You have some crossovers and a whole bunch of other stuff. I don't want to get into the weeds with all the different kinds of little extra stuff, but there is. I talk about it more in more detail and that kind of stuff. But just understand that this, if we were going with the basics, you tend to have strong, mild, and soft. All right, so now this is where it kind of gets crazy, right? This can get crazy, especially when people raise puppies. Right? I tell people this all the time. When you go find a dog, it is much better to go find a dog that is about 1.5 to 2 years of age at a rescue or a shelter. That's why I have this. Rescue is my favorite breed. Rescued is my favorite breed because you can go and get a dog that's about 1.5 to 2 years of age and pretty much know what kind of dog you got. At least in 2 weeks at your home. In 2 weeks, you should know what kind of dog you have. Because sometimes you can bring a dog home and he comes home mild and seems to be okay, and then as he's there, he becomes a little bit. He's a little bit mild and becomes a little bit more of a jerk. Like, well, because now he's feeling like more comfortable. He feels like now the house is his, and now the dog can become a red dog. And so you need about 2 weeks to find out where your dog is. You can have a dog that kind of comes in mild, and suddenly, because of maybe something that happens at the house while you're there, a certain family member does too much with the dog at too quick of a time, and the dog becomes soft. So you can have that too. But after 2 weeks, you're going to find a dog that you've rescued, rescue being my favorite breed, is going to be a dog that you're going to understand. As opposed to a puppy. Sometimes puppies are puppies when they're puppies, but then as they get older, you don't know what you're going to get. You get, when you get, oh, they're so cute. Oh, he licks me in the face. Oh, look at him biting my hand. Oh. I'll put a Band-Aid on that. That's okay. He's just a puppy. He's just puppy biting. He's just like all the excuses you make for a puppy, and you're thinking, oh, that's fine. But as a dog gets bigger, that freaking hurts. Oh, and you wanted a dog that you could go jogging with, down a trail and hang out with some people. But you thought when he was a puppy that he was going to be mild, when in fact he's now a red dog. He's kind of a jerk. Sorry, he's kind of so sorry. He's kind of a jerk, right? Or you have a puppy who seems to be okay, or you get a puppy that, it's the one that's in the back, right? It's not towards the front where you are, at the whelping box or the kennel, or comes to the door. Oh, what's that puppy that's way over there in the corner hiding? What's that puppy's name? Oh, that puppy's name is, like Scaredy Cat. Oh, I like Scaredy Cat. I think that dog would fit perfect into our house. We want to make that dog be a part of our family. He looks so sad. And then you get home and the dog is, get this, a dog that's like that can be a green dog, a dog that actually is sad and scared and scared of everything. Or it turns out to be a red dog. And that is the worst, because now you got a fear-biting dog that's a pain in the ass, and he's like just, and now he's a jerk, right, into the red zone, and very dangerous. So as you have a puppy, I'm telling you, I'm not trying to scare anybody from getting puppies, but I'm telling you sometimes you think with the puppy that you're seeing is going to grow up and be the dog that you want. Not always the case. You'll end up with a dog that you don't want. Some of our best customers who people bought a puppy and then end up with a dog that they hate, right? They have a love-hate relationship. They love the dog because now they've had the dog for 1.5 years, and they love the dog, but they hate what the dog does. And so they have this love-hate relationship because the dog is either turned into a red dog or a green dog. Rarely do they hate a blue dog. right? The blue dog is one of those dogs that just everybody loves. The dog just gets along. And so that's perfectly fine. All right, so now you have your humans. So you have quite often, not always, but quite often you have in the house, you can have dad be the red and mom be the blue, or dad be the red and mom be the green, right? And mom, oh, I don't know. And then dad, oh, get over here, honey, right? And so you have those dynamics. And so now you have, let's say you have a green dog in a house that has a red dad and a soft mom, right? This mom may make this problem worse, make this dog more scary and bite out of fear, because this mom who's home all the time with the dog is now coddling the dog, making the dog more fearful, making the dog more dependent on her. And now she's rewarding the bad behavior, the dog being nervous and aggressive and scary biting and that kind of stuff. Fear-based biting is being created from mom. Like you would think it'd be the opposite, right? You'd think that scary dad would be the one causing the dog to bite. Not always, but it can happen. But scary dad is this, the dog probably never connects. And this dad's going, I want to take this dog for a walk, but you know, the dog's always like hanging around with her all the time. And then if I come into the room, the dog tries to bite me. If this dog's on the bed and I come home late at night and I'm trying, the dog growls at me. Yeah, it's because of this. This is what's happening, right? This is the dynamic. And this is why we end up with some problems between the relationship. Like mom loves the dog because she's feeding into this dog's thing, and they have a connection because they're both kind of soft and scared of the world. And then dad comes in, and now this relationship is strained because this dad's personality is too strong for this dog that has either been, you know, has the genetics to be scary or has been created to be scary through mom and that kind of stuff. So you have that. So as you're looking at your situation and understanding what's going on, you just want to kind of look at the dynamics. What is happening? What is happening? I'm going to give you a couple just really quick solutions in a minute, but I just want to talk about another dynamic here. Is that now you have this dog here, strong dog with a strong handler, and then in a week, and mild people, I hate them. Right? We never do business with these people. If you get a mild dog with a mild handler, right, this connection, we don't see them as customers because nothing goes wrong. Everything is good. Oh, look at my dog. Yeah, my dog's cool. Hey, dog. Hey, dog. Right, and they're both like walking down, like, hey, what's happening? You know, everything's good. These two rarely have a problem. But the red dog with a red human and a soft. So this dog, for whatever it has a connection to the human, right? He can be a complete jerk, but now with his personality, sit down, come here, and the dog goes, all right, you know, and the dog like doesn't really question his authority, but the dog understands this sometimes, right? And has a connection. Again, there's other problems. There's so many variables. That's what makes this whole thing complex. That's why I wrote the Falco formula and the complex relationship between the humans and the dog. But in some cases, this is perfect and works pretty good. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes, right? But then this dog can bite a soft woman, right? And because now the dog doesn't respect her at all, and now you have this dog pulls this woman down the street. Only the man can walk the dog because he has the strength and the respect of this strong personality. But this dog in the hands of this woman, totally dangerous. This dog may also think that it has to protect this woman and will bite people and bite skateboarders, bite somebody walking down the sidewalk because this woman is so soft. And it becomes worsened in a relationship with a man who's really strong because this dog really needs this or desires this. And when he doesn't get it, the dog becomes more protective, more guarding of the softer woman. And it can manifest itself into being something pretty big. And so understanding these dynamics and how it all works and how it's working in your home is really important. Going to a trainer that understands these differences and looks at you as an entire, in the entire picture. You got to look at the whole big picture. Far too many trainers. Well, I'm making a mess here. So you know who the red and the blue are. So I'm going to go ahead and erase that. Oops, sorry about that. I should have circled. So too many dog trainers only look at this dynamic. Only look at this dog. And they say, "Oh, yeah, dog is aggressive. We're gonna correct that." And the dog, and they correct the dog with leash or withholding food until the dog shows in. And so you fix this. The trainer, me, I'm more probably, I'm a mixture. I'm a mixture of these two. This is who I am. I am never soft with a dog. Just so you know, I'm never soft with a dog. So, but if I have a soft dog, this actually works pretty good. This dynamic actually works pretty good because I'm mild-mannered, right? If I'm too soft with a soft dog, then the dog becomes softer and sometimes fearfully aggressive and that kind of stuff. A fearful dog needs somebody that's kind of mild to bring up their confidence, to bring up their courage. And so a human that's mild, come on, buddy, let's go. Oh, what's going on? Oh, you look, come on, buddy. Yeah. Oh, what a good dog. You made it from there to there. Look how strong you are. Look how brave you are. Like with children, right? The one thing you don't want to do is coddle children that are weak. Right? The other day, I was doing live and one of my children fell at the skate park, hurt himself, right? He's down there crying. And I said, get up, get over here. Bring yourself over here. I'm not going to come down to you and coddle you and carry you because I can see that there's not a bone sticking out of your leg, right? Get up and get over here. And I'm going to help treat, if you're bleeding, I'll treat your bleeding, whatever. But I do not lay down there and cry and pretend that you're, that we need to do an operation there in the middle of the skate park. Get up, come over here, right? That child needs to understand that he's stronger than he thinks he is. He needs to understand that laying there and whining is not going to get like the whole world coming up. Are you okay? Are you okay? I saw that you fell and hurt yourself. You must be really hurt, right? No, wrong. Get up. Limp up here, hop on one leg, whatever it takes, get up here, and then we'll evaluate what needs to happen. Again, if the bone's sticking out of the skin, if the foot's facing back, then I'll go down. But minus that, the kid needs to go. Same thing with the dog, right? The dog is over here in the corner and doesn't want to come out. The worst thing you can do is go over there to the corner and go, come on, schnoogums. Come on, Snooky Wookie, let's come on, right? What you're doing is you're praising the fear behavior or the softness and just showing the dog that being in that corner and shaking and being scared is exactly what you want as the human being. You are perfect. You are doing great by shaking and shivering over the world. The world isn't dangerous. Get over here. Come on, buddy. And then I have even sat down on the floor and waited for the dog to find the gumption to get up and walk over to me. And when the dog does, you have to be careful because the dog that is like that, that's kind of like finally after 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, I've waited up to an hour and a half. I have plenty of witnesses. I was in a veterinarian's office because this dog would not come out of the kennel. And they called me and said, hey, we got this dog, but we know that you deal with stuff like this. Can you come to the kennel? This dog either is going to bite us because he's in the corner, he won't come out. And we can't get anybody brave enough to go in there and get the dog out. And so what did I do? I drove down there. I sat on the ground and waited for the dog to come 2 feet to me. The dog came 2 feet to me. I gave the dog a treat. The dog took the treat and went back in the corner. Right? So what did I do? Did I get closer or did I get farther? I got farther. I went another foot away and I sat there and I waited another 15 minutes. The dog came up, came over, and I didn't give the dog a treat this time. I just kind of pet the dog on the nose really lightly and the dog moved away and went back. And the time between the dog getting up and coming to me became shorter and shorter and shorter. And pretty soon I opened the door and the dog just came to me and we pet the dog. I put the leash on and took the dog out. Right? That was about an hour and a half to 2 hours of getting the dog to the point to coming out with me. The worst thing you can do is go in and grab it and then pull the dog out, right? Because now you're showing the dog that what his fear is, what he's afraid of, actually happened. The human came in, put a leash on him, and drugged me out to a scary place. That's not what you want. You want the dog to make the choice at some point to come to you and show that through his strength, through his bravery, through his own gumption, he was able to stand up on his own 4 feet, pause, and walk over and show, oh man, you just walked 3 feet. That was amazing. That's this green dog right here. That's a green dog, right? You can't treat a green dog like I would a red dog. Now I have a red dog who's a complete jerk, right? I would handle that situation completely different, really different. Right? A mild dog, again, there's nothing to do with mild dogs. There's trainers that only take mild dogs. This is the craziest thing. I know people that they will not train any other dog unless it's mild. Like, you're missing out on a whole world out there, right? If the dog is too soft, they don't want to take it because they know that they'll have problems with their tools. Electronic collar people will never take a green dog. No. Well, they might, but they'll ruin it. They'll destroy the dog's personality. Many of them. I know there's probably somebody watching with an electronic collar who's with one of those companies that does electronic collar. I'm imploring you to be careful. I witnessed it in a class that I went to not really that long ago, right? A dog that was bordering kind of greenish bluish. They put electronic collar on the dog, and now the dog would not. The dog actually ran out of the training area where he was trying to teach. The dog took off at some point after trying to do this, trying to show the electronic collar. And I'm saying that is the worst thing you can do with that dog. And they did it, and the dog, took off. Right. So you have to be careful with these green dogs when you're using certain types of training. Mild dogs, some people only take them. I don't really care that much about mild dogs. I'll tell people, there's not that much you can do, but come to our class to get the dog socialized, get his mental stimulation. It's always good. It's not we turn down blue dogs. I just let them know that this is going to be easy. What you're going to focus more on is even improving more on your dog's personality by getting him socialized, by getting him through some environments, by just merely stimulating his brain, which is always good. Dogs get more tired by brain stimulation than physical stimulation. So you're perfect coming into our class. It's going to be great. And as a matter of fact, if you wouldn't mind, we'd like to use you and your dog with some of these dogs that are red and green, because you're going to have a green dog that's fearful of your blue dog, even though he's blue. And you're going to have dogs that want to kill your blue dog. And we want to use you on that situation too. But your dog being mild actually works out pretty good. Right. And then you give them a free t-shirt or something like that for helping out. So that's a little trainer tip. That's not so much for you pet dog owners. But you got to understand that the dog that's laying in the corner, I'm using this corner over here as an example that you can't see, but you have a dog that's like that in the corner. You want them to come to you, not you go to the dog and reward them for showing fear and being defensive by hiding in the corner and not being around you. Again, a red dog, we're handling that situation completely differently. But now back to me being kind of a mixture between a red and blue, I can bounce back and forth, right? I can go to, hey, come here, buddy, not a big deal, to a jerk when I have a dog that's a jerk. Because in some cases, you kind of need that. If I'm too soft with a dog that's a jerk, I'm going to get bit. Have I been bit by a couple of dogs? I have, but not very often. Because I know this balance. I know where to be blue and where to be red, and this is important. A lot of trainers can't be red. They only know how to be blue, and they don't have it in them to be red. They're either too fearful to be red, and they're too. They think it's mean. They think that they're trying to be purely positive or mostly positive, so they stay in this blue area. That's why they'll never have success with a red dog who's aggressive. I've seen it over and over and over again. I get tons of red dogs from trainers that I know are blue, and handlers that I know are blue. They just don't. They can't do it. They can't bring it to themselves to do it smartly. You want to be red, but you want to be smart about what it doesn't mean you kick the dog in the head. It doesn't mean you put sharp and pinch claw. It just means that your personality is one that the dog will question whether they should challenge you or not. That's the personality. The personality is that you're given is that you're going to come after me. Really? You want to take that chance? Right? It's kind of like being a police officer, right? If you're a police officer and you are coming across a red suspect, a suspect who's a major jerk, the worst thing you can do is go, sir, can you come and, I would really appreciate it. My supervisor would like it if you would just get in my car, right? You don't want to be that. You want to be able to raise up a little bit and say, get your ass over here. If you don't, it's going to end poorly for you. At some point, you are going to be hurt, and we're going to end up having to go to the hospital before we go to the jail. Right? Some people look at that as being a jerk or somebody with a bad personality. But again, we're not dealing with somebody that's green or blue, right? We're dealing with somebody that's red in law enforcement. Same thing with a dog. If your dog is that kind of personality that they would just soon bite you out of pure aggression, not fear aggression, a completely different thing, pure aggression. If you come at the dog and you are anything but strong in personality, you're going to get bit and you're going to get hurt. All right. So back to the pet dog people that are watching is that just understand that if somebody is only working as a dog trainer, solely a dog trainer, you may not be in the right place. unless your dog is in the blue. And the blue dogs work perfectly with just people that are dog trainers. If you go to a dog trainer and they're dealing with you as individual humans, then you know you're in the right place. So I, as the dog trainer for a dog that's green or red, that's living in a family of any one of these types, I got to train the dog according to who these people are. So the woman on a red dog may be working with a pinch collar. Nobody freak out, nobody cry, nobody scream, nobody call the ASPCA or anything like that. But this is how you give this woman strength and power to bring her up to a level of blue or red so she can handle a red dog. All right. The one thing you don't want to do on a green dog who's biting out of fear is sometimes put a pinch collar on. You see what I'm saying? So this is important to know in regard to what tool you're using. In a green dog who's fearful biting, fearful aggressive, hiding in the corner, that kind of stuff, the worst thing you could do in many cases is put a pinch collar on that dog or even put an electronic collar on the dog. You see what I'm saying? If you have a red dog who's purely aggressive, strong aggressive, I'm going to bite you if you don't feed me. I'm going to bite you if you get on this couch when I want to be on this couch. And this is my couch, or this is my bed, or this is my toy. This is my food bowl. That's more of a red dog. And the pinch collar or electronic collar or something stronger may be necessary. Again, I never use absolutes. It just depends. But the woman may need something to bring her up. Her personality is not alone, is not going to make the difference. She needs something that's going to convince this dog that she means business, even though in her heart she doesn't mean business. Right? Do you understand what I'm saying? And so these are the variables that have to go into dog training. Who is it that's going to be? The worst thing you can do sometimes with a red human, especially on a green dog or even a blue dog, and sometimes even a red dog, is give them a pinch collar. So with a red human that's really strong, I'm going to say, listen, when your wife is walking, we're going to have 2 collars on your dog. There's going to be a flat collar, a belt collar. Sometimes I have one laying around here. That's what I was looking around for. A flat collar, and then on your dog, there's going to be 2 collars, flat collar and a pinch collar. When you're going for your walks and you're going to go around the block, whatever, if your wife's going to be walking the dog, put the dog on the pinch collar when she's walking the dog. When she gets tired of walking the dog and she wants you to walk the dog, switch over from the pinch collar to the flat collar when you're walking the dog. Why? Because his personality is too strong and he'll kick this dog's ass and he'll create problems. And the dog will have a bad experience. In the end, you want the dog to have a good experience. You eventually want all your dogs to kind of come into this blue area, if you can. Through your training and understanding, you want all the dogs, green and red, through training, love, and respect, by giving the tools that are appropriate for training and building a relationship, is that you want to bring your dogs into blue. All dogs, right? When they're being handled by the red guy, the red dog, it becomes blue, right? Whatever tools that takes. The same red dog, when handled by the green human, you want to give the tools that allows the dog to be in that blue zone. To be, hey, what's happening? Hi, other dog, as opposed to what it normally does or used to do, which is get away from me, right? You want this green human to have the power, either through artificial means, which would be the leash and the collar, or through talking to them and saying, listen, you can't be this mild-mannered person with the dog. We need you to be more. You need to bring it up. Your personality is too soft with that dog, right? Walk like you know what you're doing. Don't walk like, oh, I'm afraid he's going to bite. Those of you that are trainers have seen this person, right? Walking with a dog. Oh, here comes somebody. Oh no, here comes somebody, right? And they begin to panic when they see somebody coming. That you are going dark green. You are doing dark. You're going sub green. Oh no, I'm with my red dog. And somebody's coming. Oh no, right? And now you are going down here, and the dog is going up here. The dog is going totally red, and the dynamics don't go right. So you need to figure out with the human, with both. Sometimes with both. You say, listen, human, green human. When you're walking down the street, we want you to walk like, hey, I got this. This dog is good. He's not going to growl anymore. He's not going to try to bite anybody. I need you to walk with. I want a little bounce, right? A little, yeah, right? You're walking with a dog, and we're going to give you a tool. I know you don't like it. I know it's pinch collar. People hate it. You've read stuff on the internet that it's horrible for dogs, right? But we're going to show you, right? We're going to show you how to use it properly. We're going to show you how to wear it properly so that it's up high near the ears and near the chin. And you're going to walk, and your dog's tail's going to be wagging. Why? Because he's with a confident human being, and the dog knows that the woman now has power because he's got the collar on. And now you're going to walk right past that dog, who this dog used to want to eat. And now, because of your personality that we've fixed, that we've helped you with when you're walking your dog and the tools that we've given you, now you're going to walk past that dog. And your red dog is now going to be blue. And the dog's going to go, hey, what's up, dog? I want to eat you, but I'm not going to because I'm with a very confident woman that has a pinch collar on me. And I'm not going to do it. Now, when you get home, you're going to be so much happier, right? Because you don't have any skinned elbows because the dog didn't pull you down on your face. And you're going to go, wow, I love this dog. And although some of it is artificial, it still helps with the relationship, right? It's like a guy that has, I just thought of something that's perfect. I'm not sure if I could, I was talking to somebody the other day who was telling me that how can I say this? That their friend has apps on the phone that keep him from visiting sites that he's not supposed to visit, right? So, so he has things, right? It's artificial, but it's keeping him right? He doesn't want to necessarily be right, but he's got protection on his phone so that he's not bad. It's the same thing. We have to do stuff like this all the time. Like if you're an alcoholic, don't buy liquor. Keep liquor out of the house. Why? Because I want liquor, right? And so you got to keep the liquor out. That's not me. I have liquor and I'm perfectly fine for the most part. So I'm perfectly fine. I have liquor there and I, whatever, right? But some people cannot have liquor in their house. They can't go to a bar, for a period of time. They can't go out with their friends. That's artificial, but does it get the job done? Absolutely. Does that make sense? I have to go to these areas that are very challenging from time to time. But the goal is to be blue. The goal is always to be blue. Is this making sense? I hope it is. So you have a woman who's soft and mild-mannered, who maybe doesn't like it. And I'm telling you, this happened all the time. I don't want to put a pinch collar. Oh, that's so cruel. You're going to hurt my... Yeah, but your dog has tried to eat like 3 different dogs, and he's pulled you down on your face, and he tried to eat a kid on a skateboard the other day. You're paying me a lot of money to tell you how to do this. And we need to do 2 things. You need to bring up your personality closer to the blue area, and we need to find another way to give this dog the belief that you have more power than you actually do. You're only like 90 pounds and the dog is 120 pounds of meat and muscle and teeth. And so we need to do something. You can only bring your personality up so much because you're only 90 pounds. This dog is 120 pounds and he's already tried to eat 3 or 4 things, right? Humans and dogs. So what do? Artificially, we put a collar on that gives you more power, but we also want to bring up your personality. Is this all making sense? I'm going to go to, I only got 1 comment out of all the people that were watching. I got 1 comment. Hey, Amy, nice to see you. Late to the party. What party? Nobody's commenting, but I see a large number of people watching. I'm on 8 different websites or 8 different social media platforms right now. I see a lot of people watching. All right. So is this making sense? You have, again, I'm just going to repeat just really quick. You have a dog trainer that only deals with the dog. That's not going to get you very far when you get into the red area and the green area. So those of you that have pet dogs and your dog is either very aggressive, very strong-willed, strong personality, understanding that I deal with this all the time. Many people think their dog is red when in fact they're green. This is a whole nother class that I would have to give in order to teach you how to know the difference. But just understand, strong doesn't necessarily mean that they bite. If they bite, it could be red or green. Like green means soft and scared and frightened and like, oh man, I almost said something that would have really got me in trouble. They're fearful people, fearful dogs. They're fearful dogs, right? That bite. Then you got aggressive dogs that bite, right? The reason they bite are for 2 different reasons. So, and then you got your blue mild-mannered dog. We all as dog trainers don't like because they don't take any work and we can barely make money off of them. But they're really good to have in a group obedience class. They're good to have. It's good for the dog to be in a group obedience class because it gives mental stimulation and it allows the human to get out there, get some exercise and do stuff with their dog. And then again, we can use them for scenarios. But if you have a dog trainer only deals with the dog, you're going to get to a certain extent, someplace, maybe, I don't know, maybe sometimes they get lucky sometimes. but you also need somebody that understands this. This is almost, if not, is more important than this. In a dog trainer, and you're dealing with bringing your relationship together between a human and a dog, you have to know this. You have to know the difference between a red human, a blue human, and a green human. You have to, or else you're never going to have success with the red and the green dogs. It's imperative. Again, they get lucky. So a lot of trainers just get lucky. They go, well, let's try this and see if it works. It worked with the last dog, and they get lucky. But you have to have overall success and consistent success. You got to do the human thing. I have all these books I just threw on the ground. You got to really know human behavior, about the different types of personalities that people have. You can go out, you can Google it, or go do DuckDuckGo it, and research different human personalities. There's 14, I've already forgotten. I used to study it all the time. I actually have done classes on it, but it's something like 14 or something like that. I forget how many there are. But there's different human personalities and variables, just like I'm teaching you here. And variables, you have to understand. I kind of dumb it down to 3: red, blue, and green, right? And then understanding that there's some crossover, that kind of stuff. But you have to understand this. To have success with this, you have to know this, or else you won't have as much success as you want to. So I hope all this kind of made sense. Please let me know if it did not. When you have a blue human and a blue dog, those of you that are watching are going, well, my dog is perfectly fine, and I can have him off leash, and he just and he doesn't do anything, and he's so good. I love my dog. He's fantastic. Then we don't like you. We don't need you. You have that. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. People think, oh, I don't know what you're doing, what you're talking about. My dog and I are perfectly fine. And you are. That's fun. That's good. Good. Thanks, Chris, for watching. I really appreciate it. I love it when you watch. I do respond to the clients who ask if they need to use the collar forever. Well, that's always one of those questions that it's the answer to it's an answer that they hate to hear, and that is, I don't know. Depends on you. Depends on how consistent you are. It depends on how you push yourself past certain situations. So whether or not you can wean off of a collar means that you have to push yourself into like the impossible situation occurring. And if you do that consistently, if you take and you work constantly in above your head situations at a certain point, not early, right? First, you have to get a good understanding of how I get my dog to sit down, stay in the stimulus that causes them problems, whether it's children or skateboarders or little dogs, opposite set dog, whatever that is, right? So you get past that. And sometimes, and again, this give you a certain scenario, Amy, that's a great question, by the way, is that you have let's say you have a dog that hates little dogs. So you have a big pit bull that hates little dogs. And you may have to start where you go to a park where you know that at some point there's going to be somebody walking a little crappy dog or a little dog around. Sorry, those of you that have little crappy dogs, little dogs around, and you may be like, I don't know, 100 yards away. Because some dogs that are triggered by little dogs, you don't have to be close at all. You can be 50 feet away, and the dog, right? And so then you do your obedience, stop, down, stay, come, and all that kind of stuff at 50 feet away. Then you work up to, 40 feet away, 30 feet away, 25. And you do this over a period of time. Sometimes it takes days, sometimes it takes weeks, sometimes it takes months, right? So once you've mastered that with that collar, right? Getting the dog to understand that, hey, this person with this collar means business, and I can't overcome it. Again, it is artificial because the dog really isn't being kind and not being read because you've changed the dog's personality. The dog is not being read because he knows he has a collar on, correct? All right, so how do you get past that? Well, you have to bring up the scenarios to a level that you hopefully will never be in. And I'm off the top of my head, I'm just saying maybe, that you're going to have like little dogs playing with each other, playing fetch. And now you're walking obedience around these dogs, little dogs playing, like 3 dogs playing with each other, right? You have to find a way. Sometimes you can do that on the opposite side of a fence of a dog park. And so quite often dog parks are separated between big dogs and little dogs, right? You take your dog that hates little dogs around the outside of the fence. Don't ever put another dog in danger, another human in danger. But you now do obedience and that kind of stuff, and you make the obedience scenarios even more difficult, like sit and stay, walk away on a long line, or a thin line, and you just go into these impossible situations. And if you do that, putting your dogs in these high end situations, those lower end situations actually become, you can do those with a flat collar. And eventually test it out and see that you've taken your dog to such a high level of consistency, of being good under like horrific situations, that now the normal situations seem like nothing. Some people only go as far as normal situations. So normal situations are the peak, right? I'm always kind of scared because we only go to this situation. We only walk down the sidewalk and we never go anywhere else. We don't do anything else. So you can be very good, but you're going to always be on that pinch collar because you've never tested the dog past that. You've never pushed the dog past that. You've never become consistent in showing that under stressful, horrific situations, my dogs can actually be good. So now when you're in that normal situation, that seems like nothing. Did that make sense? I hope that was clear. The way I learned that is how I became a dog trainer. As a police dog trainer, I learned how to train police dogs before I ever learned how to train pet dogs, other than, my own dogs at home. So it is being trained as a dog trainer and a human trainer. I was trained on, shooting a gun with a dog, sending a dog after somebody to bite them and bring them down on the ground and teach the dog how to bite harder. Bite harder, 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 bite fuller, fuller, fuller. That's my whole day consisted of teaching a dog how to bite hard and full, right? Hard and full means that they get the whole arm in their mouth and then try to get more of that arm in their mouth. I was really good at teaching dogs how to bite hard and get as much of that person's ass or leg or arm in their mouth and teach them how to bite harder. And so because I was in that situation, everything else seemed like nothing. Teaching a dog to sit and stay in a park with a dog walking around is nothing compared to teaching a dog to sit and stay with, gunshots and lights and siren and people running around, yelling and screaming and that kind of stuff, right? I could teach a dog to sit and stay under those circumstances. And so teaching a dog to sit and stay, on the sidewalk with another dog walking across the street was nothing. And so it was pretty early on that I realized, wow, the reason we're having such success is because my training scenarios were often very heightened. Chris, who is one of our detection dog trainers, sorry about that, I left that on there for a very long time, find it canine detection. I'm not sure if he ever got into one of these situations, but what I tried to do with them as much as possible is put them in situations where there were multiple people inside the room while they were searching with their dog. So they're searching for bed bugs. So Chris's dog is a bed bug detection dog. And so what I would like to do, because so many people hated doing this. I mean, when they would come from other trainers and come to me, I would have tennis balls sometimes laying on the ground. Remember, the reward is a toy for these detection dogs. Tennis balls, or I put food out, and I would put people walking around, and I would kind of like, what are you doing? Are you searching for stuff? Did you find anything yet? I really hope you find something, because I really hate those bugs. They bite me and I get welts, and then I pick at them and they bleed, and it's really horrible. And I will talk to them while they're searching with their dog. Sometimes I do it in a funny voice. Sometimes I say, oh, I hate these bugs. Get these bugs out of here. Hurry, hurry. I got people coming over. We're having a wine party. Why are you taking so long with your dog? And I do that, and then I have other people in the same room. I've done training up to having, like, in a small room, having like 10 or 15 people in a room while they're searching with their dog to search for bed bugs. Again, whether Chris is on right now or not, I'm not sure if I try to put as many of them in a situation as possible, or I put them in a situation to where they have to work with another handler, as a group of other handlers, and then solve a problem. And I won't give them the solution. I'll say, okay, we're going to a church today. There's 5 of you handlers with 5 of your dogs, and I need you to search this location, and we only have a half an hour. And there's possibly a bed bug in there, and there might not be any bed bugs. But it's important, because what we have a group of pastors, and we have a whole bunch of people coming in. We cannot have any bed bugs. And I need you to take care. This is going to be on television. And if we do well, we're going to get 15 other churches. So I need you guys to work together, and I'll throw people that have never met before and just leave them alone and say, you guys got to figure this out. I need you to have this done in a half hour, and I need to have a solution. You need to tell me in a half hour if there's any bed bugs in there. And so what that does is it heightens their anxiety And now they're working with people that they don't know, and now they have to speak up, and now they get put in situations that they don't want to be in. And sometimes they're searching alongside another dog that their dog doesn't like, and they put them in a whole grandiose situation that they may never be in their entire life. But by doing that, and this is all coming back to Amy's question, is that by doing that, is that now when you're searching by yourself in a hotel, or you're by yourself in an apartment with nothing going on, you're going to have far greater success with less effort than if you never trained like that. If you only train by yourself, then that's as far as you go, right? That's as far as your dog has ever been tested. And so even the smallest little hiccup in that thing will throw you off. A tennis ball or a bird in a cage on, in one of the bedrooms, flapping, the bird panics and flaps, and your dog now cannot stop thinking about that bird it wants to eat, because you've never worked past anything to that level. And now your dog won't search. The dog is completely done because your training didn't involve going past that type of situation. I hope that makes sense. Please let me know if it didn't make sense. But that all has to do with this too. You can't believe how stressed people are when I hold these seminars. Sometimes I have 15 dogs there, 20 dogs. I've had up to 50 dogs and handlers at a training seminar. And you wouldn't believe how stressed a handler becomes when you just change one little thing. Like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to have a bird in a cage, right? We'll have a bird in a cage here on the counter. What? You can't have a bird in the cage. Why are you doing that? My dog's never searched around a bird in a cage. I can't believe that you're doing that. This is stupid. Like, I'm telling you, handlers all bothered when you just put one little thing. Like, if I'll put beef jerky in the search, I'll put beef jerky in a drawer, and the dog goes to beef jerky and alerts and sits, and they go, I can't. Why did you put beef jerky in there? That's so stupid. How is my dog? You've never trained past beef jerky? Like, why have you never done? Like, to me, it's odd. But to so many handlers and trainers, they never go past what the minimum experience might be in their life. Right? They only train to the minimum experience and they're never trained past the experience. That includes pet dogs. That includes police dogs. That includes detection dogs. Train past, and then back to the answer to your question, you may get to a place where you don't even need all the tools. That your dog just now does it. So many dogs in our training search off leash because the handlers have trained past that. And so that's how sometimes you get to off leash, is that, the dog has been past that experience. And these are dogs that have tried to bite people and stuff. I have a dog named Maverick. People have been around me long enough to know Maverick. Maverick was a major a-hole, and he would bite people. But I could search with that dog off leash around people, and he never bit anybody. But anybody else handled it, the dog would bite somebody in a heartbeat. He's a jerk. Because what? Because as a handler, I took him past that so that he could do that. Wow, that was a really long answer to your question. I hope I didn't answer and drive you crazy. But that's pretty much the answer to your question. That it's up to them. It's up to them to train past, and you're just the person to do it, Amy. You can take them past that point. Mine is a hard-headed, non-biting, but gets set off. I'm blue-red. What is the best way to get success for me action-wise? Wow. I could take that question so many different ways, but I'm not going to. Mine is hard-headed, non-biting, hard-headed. Kind of like what I was just talking about. You having the ability, and then Mom, we've talked before, and I know a little bit about you, but if I remember, I'm not sure that you're that big. So some of it has to do with your size, and I'm trying to remember, and I'm not making it disparaging. Nothing's bad. I'm just saying I don't remember you being of strength and girth. That sounds really bad. But if you have a red dog who can pull you around, that kind of stuff, then you need to give yourself more power. And pinch collars, although have a bad rap, they have a bad rap because sometimes they're not put on properly. So if it's loose and there's a lot of space and stuff like that, the pinch collar is going to do you no good. You might as well put the dog on a flat collar. So you may have to move that pinch collar up and take out a few links and get it to where it stays up here, around here where the bone is and the skin is, not down here where the muscles. And people don't like to do that. They cringe. Like, oh, I don't want to do that. But again, if you are, even though you're red and blue and you're with a really red dog who's strong, it doesn't matter whether they bite. Again, I only throw that in because people always ask about the biting. But if he's so strong and powerful, and you're slight, which I think you are, I could be wrong, that you may need to put that pinch collar up into a position that will now give you more strength and power. It makes you bigger and stronger and gives you more girth, because that may be the only thing you're missing. And then once you have that control under minor situations, increase slowly, not big. People will jump too high. Like they'll go from say you have a dog that has a very strong desire to play with a ball, and you have a dog that you finally get obedience in a sterile environment where there's not a lot going on. Say like a park with nobody in the park. Have one of those neighborhood parks where nobody's there, and look at my dog sitting down and staying. Look how perfect he is. He's such a wonderful dog. But as soon as you take that dog off that property, that park, and take him down a street where you have maybe a couple of kids playing basketball, the dog is pulling. Take the dog to the empty park, ding, angel halo, or is that right? And so you may have to find something in between the sterile park and the children playing basketball. It may just be a child sitting on the curb, right? Sitting there reading a book. The reason I had 5 kids is not because I like kids. It's because I needed them as guinea pigs for training dogs. And so I use my kids all the time. That's the only usefulness out of kids I was having them, is I use them as guinea pigs. And I would say, okay, Courtney, talking with my 26-year-old, hey, Courtney, what I need you to do is I need you to sit on that curb and I'm gonna walk this dog past you. He likes to bite children, but don't worry. I got him. She'll tell you the stories. She will say, yeah, he did this to me all the time. And she became used to it. She goes, Dad, and she would say, Dad, I want to be the hamster, because she forgot that it was guinea pig. So she goes, Dad, can I be your hamster? Yeah, you can be my hamster, which meant my guinea pig. So I say, Courtney, I need you to sit on the curb. I'm going to walk past you like 5, 6, 7 times. And then when I tell you to, I need you to stand up. So you see how you reduce it down from, you don't go to kids playing basketball. You go to a child that you can trust. That's one of your own. You keep her safe or him safe. And you say, sit on this curb. I'm going to walk past you 5, 6, 7 times, down, sit, stay. Come when I call, using a long line, always moving away from the child, not towards the child. And then you go to, hey, when I tell you to, I want you to stand up. So right when I'm calling the dog to a heel, I'm going to say, okay, now the child stands up. The dog begins to veer. No, give him a correction. Boom, the dog comes to me, right? All right, Courtney, sit back down. Take the dog back. Dog sits or downs. Courtney's sitting on the curb. I call the dog. Okay, Courtney, now Courtney stands up. Dog veers a little bit. No, correct. Bring the dog, right? Courtney sits back down. Again, Courtney knows this. I mean, I'm not telling you something I've never done. I've done this 100 times. I take this mean, nasty, aggressive Malinois back to the thing, and I say, okay, Courtney, sit back down. Ralph, here. The dog just come. Now what does the dog do? Because we've had 2 corrections. In many cases, not always, but in many cases, even a Malinois, what the dog will do, the dog will get up and start running, and the dog will turn its head and look. If the kid's to the right, the dog will look to the left and then run, because he can't trust himself. He's learned, I'm not going to look at that kid because I know that kid's going to stand up and I'm not going to be able to, I want to go bite that kid. So now what the dog does, the dog looks to the left. And you see the dog with his eyes kind of like, I want to make sure that kid's not going to come in. And the dog goes, oh, what a good dog. Wow, what a nice dog. Even though I know the dog had to take actions to not be tempted to bite the child. The actions the dog took were to look away, right? To turn its head, to look away. So the dog himself knew that he wasn't tempted to go bite the kid who stood up. That is, and needs to be rewarded. That is awesome. All right. So I'm taking you through a training session here. I hope that's okay. So now that we have that, we may end on that day on that positive note, right? That's always something good. You don't want to maybe sometimes push past that, because that may have been the best round or the best thing that you did. I'm trying to think of the word. I don't know why I can't think of a word right now. The best, not repetition. Maybe it is the best repetition, where the dog came, turned its head, didn't do anything, didn't veer off, didn't turn towards and look at the kid. The dog actually made a choice to look away, right? You may put the dog away, put him in the kennel, put him in the crate, put him in the backyard, put whatever, and then end that training for that day. Now you come back the next day. Now you start with standing up. If the dog forgets, no, correct, right? But now you may have the kid stand up and drop something, not bounce something, because that can create too much stimulation. It may be that the kid drops something, But it can be a book, it can be a paper towel, it can be a towel, it can be something, not a tennis ball. If the dog is, very desirous to play, it's whatever it is the next step. And then what you're going to see the dog looking away, but then the dog can either see, because dogs can actually see nearly behind them. The dog sees that towel falling on the ground. Dog's like, no, you tell the dog no, right? And so what you're trying to do is build tolerance to the stimulus, which is the child doing stuff. And you build this tolerance. You do that over and over and over again until you have the kid bouncing a basketball, riding his bike, playing. So you work up. I hope that all makes sense. Some of these things take a while. Don't ever think that your dog training is going to be one and done. That you're going to say, oh, I'm going to put a pinch collar, everything's done. That's what a lot of people think. Well, just give me the tool that fixes it. Well, you got to go through some repetitions. You got to teach the dog how to control the collar, how to control blah, 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 a whole bunch of other stuff. So these things don't happen overnight. It's just a period of time, gauging where your dog is at, and then increasing the stimulus to the point where you're crazy, you're stupid, right? You're gone so far that it's probably never going to happen, right? You could have Martians walking around. I mean, you just go crazy with stuff to really tap. And now the minor, the normal everyday situations are nothing. Your dog can do really well. Wow. That's about $1,000 of dog training right there. You guys all owe me. Send me a check to Brea, California, 92823. I'm glad. Yeah. So that's pretty much the steps, and it's just increasing. And again, I hope I didn't say anything that was wrong or anything like that. Because size matters. I make myself laugh when I say stupid stuff, but it does. Size matters. If a dog knows it can beat you, are you kidding me? Do you think a dog doesn't know that he outweighs you and can pull you, and now it knows when you're not looking? I've seen it 100 times. And this is my last example, is you can have a dog and they sit next to you, right, that likes to just lunge and pull and take off, right? Because he knows that if he pulls hard enough, he can pull you down and you let go of the leash. Or he likes to drag you, and it's kind of fun to watch you drag on the ground, right? And again, I'm talking about bad dogs. I've dealt with a lot of bad dogs in my time. So you have a dog that sits, stays. So you got the dog sitting and staying, but you have people that are like this. Here, I'm going to stand up, and I can't move my camera because it's too far away. But you have a dog, and they sit, stay, and you're like this with your hands on. The person has two hands on the leash, and they're standing there with their feet, shoulder width apart, and one behind the other, because they know that dog is getting ready to take off, but they don't want to fall, and so they do this. So what I say is, what I want you to do is I want you to stand up, but don't change your feet. So I want you to stand up, and they stand up. Dog takes off, right, and they correct the dog, because the dog knows. The dog knows if you're prepared to keep them from doing what they want. And so you have to get to that point where the dog is at a sit, stay. And at some point, you're going to get where you drop your hands and you're like this, and you're like, and the dog's still there in the sit, stay. A dog that normally, once he sees that you're relaxed, will take off because he knows he can get away from you, right? Pull the leash out of your hand or bring you down to the ground so that you let go of the leash, right? That's the kind of dog we're dealing with. That's the kind of dog I'm talking about. So what we want to do is eventually, can you go from teaching a dog to sit, stay that has that propensity to take off and pull you down? Can you go from sit, stay to this? No. You got to go from sit, stay to this, 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 right? Sometimes the dog knows when you turn, the dog, bam, will take off and roll you down the ground. And again, we're talking about dogs that know how to take off and get away from you. And so you have all those steps. How many steps was that? Possibly maybe 8, 10, 15 steps. I don't know. It depends on the dog. And you're going to have to take all these steps. Same thing at the door, right? We go to touching the doorknob, to turning the doorknob, to turn the doorknob a couple times, to turning the doorknob and starting the pull, turning the doorknob, pull a little bit more. These are for dogs that like to take off through the door, right, as soon as it opens. And you got to teach the dog to stay with all these minor little steps, right, to where you're pulling the door open and closing the door, pulling the door open a little bit farther, pulling the door all the way, closing the door, right? And now you do this, now you do this, now you step forward, no, stay, right? Pull the door opens, take a step, go, good dog. Pull the door, take 2 steps, and the dog stays. pull the door open, and you go out the door, you come back in, right? And you see those are all those incremental steps that you're taking to get to the point where now you have a neighbor dressed in brown shirt and a brown shorts carrying a box. You have a neighbor, you give them beer for doing this, but they come over, ring the doorbell, and then your dog, no, sit. The dog sits. You have him by the leash. You now open the door. There's your neighbor in the brown shirt, brown pants, and with a box, and you say thank you, and then you sign some imaginary piece of paper, and you shut the door, and you praise your dog for staying. So you just taught your dog to stay when the UPS guy comes to the door to bring you a box. Falco formula, just misnamed it. Red, blue, green, human, red, blue, green. And then again, this goes beyond. I just took you through scenarios that are also red, blue, and green, right? You go from a very mild manner scenario to an increased scenario with a little bit more stuff going on, and then crazy red scenario. I should even mention that. That's where the scenarios have different colors, right? A park with the sterile is green. A very sterile environment with nothing going on, not even any squirrels running up and down a tree. That is a green scenario. Add some wind blowing and maybe a car driving by, maybe a kid riding by on his bicycle. Now you brought it up in the blue, and then in the red for your dog could be, and then another dog. Now that's a red scenario, because now you're bringing in the thing that really causes this dog to have some problems, and so those problems become different colors based on what you're doing in the stimulation involved. All right, my friends, I hope this was all helpful. I haven't taught this, and I can't take 10, probably about 10 years. I've not talked about this for a very, very long time. So hopefully it was helpful. It came to me the other day that I thought was important to talk about how it's a little bit more complex than just training a dog to sit and stay, that there's other things you need to keep in mind. All right, again, hope this was helpful. I can't wait to tell you about this dog food. I'm still testing it. I've given it to a couple of my dogs. I'm down to one dog. The narcotics dog I was training is now at home with its handler. But I wanted to have the dogs try the food, make sure they like the different foods, and I'm going to be telling you about it. But I can't wait to tell you about this new dog food company and what they're doing. I think they're doing some fantastic stuff with proteins and no grains. And it is fantastic food, and cannot wait to tell you more about it. Had a great meeting with one of the sales guys that I know from. He used to work with other companies, big name companies that I'll ask him if he wants me. I don't know if he wants me to tell you, but hopefully it was helpful. All right, my friends, I love you guys very much. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you. And if you think there's anybody else that would like to see this video, I almost forgot. Also, I'm considering a couple different seminars to put on. I just got invited to a how can I explain it? It's a location where there's 2 residential homes that are vacant but fully furnished, and was thinking of possibly doing some type of seminar there for detection dogs, maybe bed bug detection dogs, maybe just detection dogs, no matter what it is that you're searching for. That's one of my thoughts. Another one is for dog trainers, just for home training stuff. We have 2 homes, and we can put different situations within the homes, and they're really in a really cool place. That these 2 homes are all by themselves down a really long driveway. It's actually really cool. Let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in something like that. It probably won't be this year. It'll probably be, depending on what kind of world we live in after November. It'll probably be right after that. Probably into the next year, probably 2021. But let me know of your interest of coming to California for a seminar with myself and Aldo and what other trainers, maybe Gina and some other trainers might be wanting to be a part of this training program. It's a 3-day seminar probably to help with either behavioral problems or detection issues, or just take you to the next level with your detection, take you to the next level with your, if you're a dog trainer, with your dog training skills. All right, and we'll teach more of this stuff. And it'll be awesome. All right, let me know if you're interested. Talk to you later. Take care. Bye. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Stand by. I need my music. Goodbye.